So ACT skill number 41. Which of the following are solutions to this? So there's different ways to do this. I'm going to show you algebraically how to do it because you'll have to know how to do that later on in the skill. But if you didn't know how, let's just use common sense. Take 2 and plug 2 in. 2 plus 5 is, oh, I'm so sorry. 2 plus 3 is 5. What is the absolute value of 5? Okay, that means 2 works. So anything that has a 1 in works. That works. That does not work. Does not have a 1 in. Has a 1 in. Has a 1 in. Let's try negative 2. Negative 2 and positive 3 is 1. The absolute value of 1 is? Does 1 equal 5? No. So anything that believes it's Roman numeral 2 does not work. So I'm down to 2 options. Then I'm going to plug in negative 8. Negative 8 and 3 is negative 5. The absolute value of negative 5 is? So that means that Roman numeral 3 works. Correct answer is D. Okay, but hold on here. I need to teach you how do we do the algebra because you have to know that later. So here's algebraically. Here's the problem we're given. Remember, absolute value represents the distance a number is from 0 or the origin. So a couple ways to do this. Absolute value, once you solve inside of the absolute value, has to always equal a positive number. An absolute value will have 2 answers unless the answer is 0 in case it has 1. Okay, so here's what we do. We have this problem. I'm going to take away the absolute value brackets, and I'm going to set it equal to the negative of this value. I have 3 columns, and now my job is to isolate the variable in the middle. So to get rid of the positive 3, I'm going to subtract 3, and whatever you do to the middle column, you have to do to the 2 side columns. Now n is by itself. 5 minus 3 is 2, negative 5 and negative 3 is negative 8. Those are the 2 answers we came up with up above. But for ACT, do you have to show work? So however you can get the answer the fastest is really going to be your goal. Flip to the back, please. So here's an example where some students may say, oh my gosh, it's the middle of the test, I forgot how to do the math. So what could they do? They could do this. 4 subtract 8 is negative 4. Again, 4 subtract 8 is negative 4. The absolute value of negative 4 is 4. Does 4 equal 12? That means wherever I see, I plugged in an 8 and it didn't work. Wherever I see a positive 8, I cross it out because I know 8 doesn't work. Others may realize that, hey, I can just do the basic math and it's going to be faster, so they write down this problem. Remember, the absolute value always has to equal a positive number or 0. So here it's set equal to positive 12. Now we're going to set it equal to negative 12. You can use either method, plugging in and checking or solving, whatever is quickest for you in the long run. So I want to isolate the m. So first I subtract 4. I get negative 16 equals negative m, which equals and also equals positive 8. Then I have to divide by this negative 1. When I divide by a negative 1, it just changes the sign. So m equals positive 16 and negative 8, or option B. Again, either plugging it in or doing algebra, it's whatever works for you, okay? Number 2, another great example of you choose a method that works. Brian? Thank you, sir. Go get a drink of water if you're really tired, okay? The temperature T in a certain country in spring is modeled by this inequality. Which of the following is not? Circle the word not. Which of the following is not in the range? So we're going to find out which of the following is not a true statement. So I'm going to go over 2 different ways to do this. One is we're just going to plug it in. 32 minus 12 is 20. The absolute value of 20 is 20. Is this a true statement, true or false? Is 20 less than or equal to 20? Yes. Okay, it works. I want to find out which one does not. Is 16 minus 12 is 4. The absolute value of 4 is 4. Is 4 less than or equal to 20? Negative 4. Negative 4 and negative 12 is negative 16. The absolute value of negative 16 is 16. Is 16 less than or equal to 20? Yes. So you keep going, right? Okay. And I'll tell you the answer is going to be negative 16. Negative 16 minus 12 is negative 28. The absolute value of negative 28 is positive 28. Is positive 28 less than or equal to 20? You also could have done the algebra, and I'll show you how to do that in number 3 as a review. Number 3, If this quantity is less than 10, then which of the following is a possible value of x? So now I'm going to show you, again, you could have plugged these in just like I did for number 2, and to find out which one would work, I'm going to show you how to do it algebraically. Again, absolute values, okay? Absolute values will have 2 answers unless the answer is 0. So let's start by plugging this in. So here's what I have. Now here's the key. You ready? That's what I have. Take this symbol and take the number you're given. And now I'm going to rewrite this symbol going the same direction on the opposite side. And I'm going to take this value and write the negative of it. Now make 3 columns. This is just like number 1, but instead of having an equation, we have an inequality that we're solving. So when I solve for the middle, I want to get x by itself, I start by subtracting 1. Now I divide both by 2. So I turn this into a decimal. Negative 11 divided by 2 is negative 5.5. And 9 divided by 2 is 4.5. I'm a visual learner, so I know here's 4.5, and I know here's negative 5.5. This inequality says the values of x, or the solutions, have to be less than 4.5, not equal to it, less than 4.5, and greater than negative 5.5. So let's find out which number here is less than 4.5 and greater than negative 5.5. Is negative 6 in this region? Is negative 5 in this region? Problem done. Positive 5 is outside, positive 6 is outside, and positive 10 is outside. This is an example of how to algebraically do it. Again, you could have just plugged them in and also find out which one works. It's up to you what makes sense to you and which one you can do fastest. So I'm going to do number 4 by just plugging them in because, again, it may be a faster method. We want to know what is x. So here we go. Ready? The absolute value of negative 6 is 6. And negative 6 plus 8 is 2. Negative 6 plus 8 is 2. Is that a true statement? Let's try negative 4. The absolute value of negative 4 is? And negative 4 and positive 8 is? Is that a true statement? Done. Please read number 5 to yourself first, and then I'll go over it. Which one of the following expressions are equivalent for real numbers of n? And what that means is you choose a number, and when you plug it in, you should get that same number back as an answer. So, Lupe, give me a number 1 through 10. Go ahead. 5. Here we go, guys. Ready? I'm going to plug in 5, and I want a final answer of 5. So I want a final answer of 5 if it works. So I plug in 5. What is 5 squared? Square root of 25 is? Does it work? Okay. Roman numeral 1 works. We're going to do 5 again. I want a final answer of 5. So wherever I see an M, I plug in the number that Lupe chose, which was 5. So negative 5, what is the absolute value of negative 5? So does it work? Okay, Roman numeral number 2 works. Now let's use some common sense up here. I know 1 and 2 both work. So it could be A, it can't be B because they didn't include Roman numeral 2. Can't be C because they didn't include 1. It could be D, and it can't be E because I already know that 2 of them work. Now the last one, I want a final answer of 5, and I'm plugging in 5 where I see the M. The absolute value of 5 is 5, but then I have to attach the negative on the outside. Does negative 5 equal 5? So the third option doesn't work, which means option A is your correct answer.